proposed increases to the park fees and what that means for one, tourists, for tour operators, local and international tourists, by the way, local and international tour operators, and what exactly the bone of contention is over these KWS park fees. We're in studio with Fred Odek, who is the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation. Let's talk to him about what is happening, and we'll get into the proposed increases. But for now, karibu, Fred.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's nice to have you.
Nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you, Janet, as well.
Yes. Before we begin, Janet usually shares a quote. We start the day off with a quote. She'll share the quote with you, say if it resonates with you, if it speaks to you, what you interpret from it.
All right. Right. So the quote is by Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who has been serving as the Director General of the World Trade Organization since March 2021. In 2019, she said, "The collapse of systems is never sudden. It happens slowly when care is replaced by convenience." What do you make of that?
I think that's where the country is today. And that's why I'm on this table today. We've said before that systems make countries. And systems sometimes are not the easiest. Same as democracy, it's not the easiest. It's messy. It's long term, it doesn't cut corners. But the convenience people look for that allows you to cut corners is the beginning of the failure of the very same systems. You accept the first one, the second one, the third one becomes the norm.
Yep.
And they'll ask you, how come you didn't deny us the first one?
That, they say when, you give an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for joining us, Fred. Let's begin with how park fees have been structured for the past, I don't know, since the last review happened, for entry into national parks for Kenyan citizens, East African citizens, and those outside of East Africa holding passports from elsewhere in the world.
Our park fees, we've talked about the KWS, is very straightforward. We had rates that have been running for last 18 years. And somewhere around March this year, KWS requested to do a review of the park fees. And the industry as a whole were actually consulted. The meetings were held. Rates were shared. If you look at our park fees, normally we have the park fees for the international traveler. I'll take Nairobi National Park.
Yeah.
The park fee there before was $45 for international travelers. The review put it from $45 to $80. The local traveler used to pay, I think, around 500 shillings, and that was also changed. Now, in terms of classification, normally you have the citizen and then the East Africa resident. Those are all done. There's no problem there.
Okay.
Now, once that was done, the whole process of park fee discussion went to the validation, and that was finished. Now, the trading part...
Sorry, there was no change to the fees for local and East Africa residents?
All the fees were changed.
Okay.
All the fees were changed.
Okay.
And the change is actually huge. It's actually 50% plus from the old rates. As an industry, we understood because everything is increasing. And KWS is supposed to actually manage not just the parks. They've got two things that people don't understand, which is very important for them. One is our wildlife and heritage that they actually manage. And number two, they manage our water towers.
Okay.
Most of the key forests sit in KWS territory. And so that's very important for the country. And so when they make this increase on park fees, it is not just for the wildlife. It helps them to manage both the wildlife
and the water towers.
And then remember, the conflicts around wildlife and human, that's also under KWS. The management of the access roads in our parks and all that is under KWS. So we know they need that money. And we support it because we help them generate it. The first bone of contention came in at the point of, we've now agreed on the rates. they've been gazetted. When do we start?
Okay. Let me take you back before we get to the bone of contention.
Yes.
So we agreed on the increases.
Correct.
Industry sector, and in tourism sector was consulted.
Correct.
So, for example, Nairobi National Park, for international travelers went from $45 to $80.
Correct.
Okay.
No objection.
Okay. For local travelers?
I think the local travelers are going to 3,000 shillings.
From
500.
Okay.
Yes.
Kenyan shillings 500 to 3,000.
Yes.
And then for East Africa residents?
East African residents paying the same.
Okay, as Kenyans.
As Kenyans, yes.
Okay. Now, this was agreed upon. Okay.
No issue. Now, remember, the international market.
Before we begin,
Before the bone of contention.
Yeah, before your bone of contention, as a park user, I have a bone of contention, which is that's a very steep increase.
Very steep,
and
yeah.
it does lock people out essentially of our national parks.
This was the explanation.
500 shillings is affordable
Yes,
for a lot of people. 3,000 shillings is
It's steep.
Yeah, it's
very
very
steep.
steep.
It's steep always. It's steep even for the international traveler.
Yes.
If you are paying 45 and you're told to pay 80,
Double.
It's double. That's what I'm saying. Is 50%. But the reasoning was very simple. It took a very long time to make these changes. They should have been doing reviews after every 2 years or 3 years, so that they catch up with the economic situation in the country.
Right.
But they took 18 years before any review was done. So they said, yes, let's close our eyes and make the reviews reasonable to the current economic situation to help us actually manage these parks properly. Remember also there's an issue of the government removing the exchequer to KWS. They don't want to keep on sending them money to run their affairs. They say, you should generate your own money. All right? And we know you can. So they said, if we can, this is the budget we have now. To make this thing work properly, this is the budget we need. And with this budget, these are the kind of rates that we should actually be having.
Okay. So the exchequer is not funding KWS, or
They are not funding KWS because they need KWS to be autonomous, to run their own show.
When did
so
this stop?
They need to basically run their own show by collecting what they need to collect.
Okay.
From KWS themselves, I think this has been the last 2 years, they've been having the issue of them need to raise their own money and run their own show.
But have they been receiving for the last 2 years, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps we'll ask KWS.
They'll be able to
We'll
answer
ask-
that
we'll ask
directly
them.
to give you
Okay.
what they've been receiving and what they're not receiving.
Okay. So they said, this is what we're collecting.
This
is what we
collecting
need
now,
to run.
This is what we need to run. And if this is the budget we have, this is the kind of budget that we need to be able to run this. And these are the kind of rates that we need to share with the
Okay.
industry.
And that fed into the increases. Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
As an industry, we listen to them, and it makes sense because we want them to run these parks properly. We want them to actually ensure that the parks plus the water towers are properly functioning. So we have got no problem up to that level.
Right.
Now, this process started in March, came all the way to September. I think it finished somewhere in August. Then somewhere in September, a Gazette notice came out that now the rates have been confirmed. Parliament has gone through them. They've passed them. And so the discussion between the industry and KWS was what? The start date for the new rates.
Okay.
The suggestions were that we do this next year, July. And the other part suggestion was that if that is too far, because you need the funds, let's start this in January 2026. And up to that point, we thought we are on the same page. Somewhere in September, the Gazette notice came out, and we reached out to both the DG and the CS and asked them, hey, we are seeing the Gazette notice. Are we still on the same course? That this is supposed to start in
January.
In January.
Yeah.
And they all went quiet.
So you were aware of the Gazette notice?
Correct. We saw the Gazette
you
notice.
saw it, but tonight was the start date.
As a business community, the first thing you must look at is the Gazette notice.
Yeah.
If anything is being done by the government, you must confirm, do we have a Gazette notice for this?
Yes.
Once it's out and you've seen it, the first question you ask yourself, is it immediate or do we have a period?
Yeah.
So as an industry, ours is to actualize the safaris in the country. the government is supposed to provide that enabling environment.
Yeah.
And so we must work as partners. We must talk to them on a daily basis. Whatever they are doing affects what we do, so we must ask them, how do we communicate that to the international travelers? How we communicate that to the local travelers? Because she's just told you, I'm feeling that is very steep. So those people here who handle domestic travel must tell a client like her what the expectations are if she wants to just take a weekend and enter the park. And that comes from the Gazette notice that is shared, that we are able to actually now tell the public what the travel costs are.
Okay.
We saw a letter from KWS somewhere around 27th of September in an afternoon, and the letter says that the new park fees will start on October 1st. Now, you've got 2 days. Now,
Right.
the problem with that is that the tourism sector is something that is done on what is called forward bookings. This is 2025, November, right?
Yeah. People are booking
can
their
I tell you
holidays.
that holidays for 2026 are fully booked and paid for in Kenya here by the international travelers?
Yeah.
Which means that there's a brochure that you send to them, they are selling.
Yeah.
All right? Now, that booking that was given to you is a contract. The international traveler from Europe, from North America, from South America, from the rest of Africa, they trust that the contract they signed with you is legit.
Yeah.
So you cannot come back and tell him, you know, you paid me $45 per park fee. Now I want you to add me another $45. Assume there's a family of 10. There's only one father paying for that trip.
It's a huge amount.
He paid you $10,000. Then you send him an email and tell him, I need another $9,000 because our park fees have gone up.
Yeah.
Now, in most of those countries, the European countries, the law doesn't allow you trading with them to do that change. So it means if that change happens, you pay that from
You
your pocket
pay.
or you cancel the trip.
Okay.
Now, we went back to KWS and told them, whatever you are doing basically does not hurt anybody else, but hurts the country. Because it makes our industry unstable, unpredictable. And we were told, it's being discussed, we'll get back to you. And within those 2 days, it was a cat and mouse game, and we realized nothing's going to happen. So the industry went to court to actually stop the start date,
Yeah.
to allow us time to discuss. And the court saw the reasoning that we gave and gave an injunction. Your quote, if the systems are working, they safeguard all of us.
Yeah.
A country of rule of law, if you have a dispute with Janet,
Right.
you don't have to fist fight. You explain yourself to the person, they explain themselves to you. If you still feel aggrieved, you go to court.
Right.
Then the court becomes an arbiter.
An arbiter, yeah. So there's an
Now-
injunction, yeah.
We got an injunction. We are law-abiding citizens. We only have one country, this one. We don't have another one. So anybody trading with us, the government, ourselves, we need to trade within that rule of law. And the first thing that happened, KWS basically ignored the court order. While that happened, we are still very amicable with them. We still discussing with them. We are still persuading them to see the sense of what the industry is doing. Now, you have a court order in place. That means that whatever you are doing should be reverting to the old rates.
Right.
Now, this is the bone of contention now. The bone of contention between the travel industry, the tour operators, the travel community with KWS is that KWS, after publishing their rates, which are as high as you know, I've mentioned, and after the government had given instructions that all government operations be done under the e-citizen system, KWS plugged the industry out of that e-citizen system for whatever reason and formed another platform. Now this platform, the first thing it did, it removed everybody from paying park fees to the bank. and plugged in a credit card system and an M-Pesa system. Now, on top of that, this platform created a fee behind it of 5%. This is how it works. Your park fee to Nairobi National Park, we said it was how much?
Right now, 3,000. It was meant to be 500.
Let's go to the international.
Okay, let's go with international. $45, $80 now.
$80. You're supposed to pay KWS $80, but KWS has decided that for you to pay that $80, you pay them $80, plus you pay them another 5%, which they call the system fee.
That's how they describe what it's for, the system fee.
Now, because you are paying that money through a credit card, they've also loaded a credit card fee of 3.5%. So you have got a fee you are paying of 8.5% on top of the $80 you're paying for your client. And remember, you did not have that 8.5%
Planned.
With all,
planned
yeah.
or costed or
This
presented to you at the time when you're talking to your client.
Yeah. Just to be clear, when they said our start date is October 1st,
Yes.
as far as you know, they went ahead and implemented it despite the fact that there was an injunction, or did they?
They went ahead and implemented it, and it's going on.
Okay.
The court order is still live, but they went on and ignored it and continued. And now, on top of that, they went and moved the system from eCitizen, picked another one, and add the 8.5% on the system, remove you from the bank, put you on this card system that we don't know whose card it is, and if an industry that people...
When you say card system, what do you mean? I can no longer... So before, I've paid for entry into parks via M-Pesa.
Correct.
I've also tapped or swiped the card. So now, what is this new system?
Now, for the industry that we represent, we do large volumes of payments.
Yes.
We are not like an individual who you say, I want to go to the park, and you tap your card and you go. Or you pay M-Pesa and you go. The industry has large payments. One company has got 100 clients entering the park, and $80 plus 100, you have got $8,000 you're paying at a particular time, or $8,000.
800,
You can't go to an M-Pesa shop to convert that money and pay somebody.
Yes.
Or you can't come with a credit card to pay. So what you do, you go to the bank and you put your money to the account and you're given the card. That was the system that we've been using.
Okay.
All right? Now, when KWS goes and removes the bank option for payment and leaves the credit card payment option and then put fees on it, which means you have got no option. You need to pay this person this extra money that you don't have. And that money is not gazetted.
Right. Okay. So people were blindsided.
We are blindsided.
Would you say even users?
Yes.
Because I'm sure some of this came from users saying, wait, I'm here and I'm being told ABCD.
Correct.
Were you hearing user experiences?
It is all user experience.
Yeah.
Actually, you got to learn this when the new system is put in place and people are trying to pay and say, oh, wait a minute. They're charging me another 8.5% apart from my normal payments. What's going on?
And is it 8.5% per transaction?
Per transaction. Per transaction. So if you're paying, it's 8.5% of the value you're paying.
Okay. 5% is a system fee and 3.5% is a credit card
Charge.
fee. I've heard of credit card fees before, but not, to be honest, not in Kenya. Yes.
And also the percentage is
And
also
the
what you're going to
percentage
say.
is quite high.
Yeah.
It is. The system fee, what's the justification for it? Because this credit card fee, ideally it should be the bank charging you.
Exactly.
But usually banks will let you use it for free because you're using their card.
Yeah.
So I'm very confused. What's the justification? What's the system fee? What's this 5% for? And what's the 3.5% for?
This is our understanding of the industry. One, somebody somewhere cleverly has procured a system that instead of paying the system owner, they've transferred the system cost to the public. Now, what does it mean? This is what it means.
For maintenance, etc. Okay.
Correct. This is what it means. That KWS has gone through a procurement system that is not sanctioned. Because what should have happened if they were buying a system, that is the administrative cost. Right? Now, the change on park fee that was done through the procedures that went through should have taken care of the administration cost of the same money. So if you knew that you have an extra cost of 5% to collect your money, add it in the park fees.
Okay.
So that the park fees that you are giving as a review has got the holistic figure that can be published in a gazette notice and be collected as such.
Okay. Fred, pause there. We'll continue. We need to pause on that math, but we need to come back and unpack it.
And as we go into the breakdown, I just need to ask explicitly, this is not eCitizen.
As far as we're concerned, it is not eCitizen. Why? Because when you transact under the eCitizen, you get a receipt from eCitizen. These people are collecting 5% from the industry, or 8.5% from the industry, with no receipt.
It doesn't make sense like something like this can happen.
And when you're using eCitizen, you know you're using
You know you're using it. So that means your
eCitizen has a convenience fee
of 50 bob.
50 bob or $1, whatever it is. It sends you the receipt.
It does. Fred Odek is the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation. We're talking about concerns over KWS fees. There's also a lot of feedback on YouTube of user experience and people trying to find the logic in what's happening. So we'll come back and continue to do the math, find out why it doesn't make sense, but also just trying to figure out a way forward. Anyway, let's go into the break and come back as we continue doing the math. We'll be back in a bit.
Ndio barabara itoke Mandera, ikuje Ramo, ikuje Gari, ikuje Elwak, ikuje Kobo, ikuje pale Kotulo, ikuje Tarbaj, ipitie hapa Wajia, iende Samatar, iteremuke Modogashe, ifike Isiolo, iende Nairobi.
Trying to take notes.
I've never written so fast in my life because I was like, barabara lazima nishike.
We have one more. No, this is actually the last one. Was Up Nation.
But nimepata. Barabara itoke Mandera, iende Ramo, iende Gari, iende Elwak, ifike Kobo, ifike Kotulo, ifike Tarbat, ifike Wajia, iende Samatar, Modogashe, ifike Isiolo, ifike Nairobi. Finally.
Umepata.
That's proper work. Thank you.
The director is saying, let's clap for Mariam.
No, but that's Eric Latif there. That's actually credits to him. Alikuwa ile barabara ya Modogashe. It was showing, I don't know how far Modogashe town was from where he was, but he is enjoying his time in northeastern Kenya. Of course, sending us What's Up Nation videos and telling us that E road basically it exists. E barabara ya kutoka Mandera, Ramo, Gari, Elwak, it exists and it's there. That's his bit in fixing the nation. Send us yours to 0112 500 400. 0112 500 400. And of course, we'll be more than happy to play it. You could, for example, say, my name is Fred Odek. My bit in fixing the nation is ensuring that local, domestic, and international tourists are charged fair prices and have an amazing experience in Kenya and have a magical Kenya experience, actually. That's it. One that is open, that is transparent, that is consistent. I'll see you.
Kabisa, and that Kenyans can access it.
That one.
A majority of Kenyans. Yusufe Mohammed is saying all park fees zimekuwa double. So tunataka kujua kama hii park ni yetu ama ni ya wengine. Kenya citizens wanalipa 1,350 plus 50 bob ya service fee. Hiyo ni 1,400 na mtu ametoka Kigali analipa 1K. Aya. Jeffrey Nicholas, where is the sense in charging Kenyans the same as other East African counterparts? It's not fair. And then park fees locks majority of the people out. Adding an 8.5% gateway fee on top of the high fees makes it more difficult. Charles Ndungo also weighs in. Simple logic. Affordability creates numbers. Numbers bring in more. The logic seems to escape those who are making this decision. Finally, Keyur Jobun Putra is just saying, free the gate, free the gate, free the gate. He's put about 17 hashtags. Meshamure, the tour industry is not like any other industry. We get bookings even a year in advance. The abrupt change doesn't help the industry. It's hurting the industry.
Okay. I mean, I hear the people. There's only one person that I wanted to disagree with.
Yes, the one for Kigali.
I actually don't know right now because I don't know what. I'd have to go to a park gate to see the rates for East African residents and for locals, now Kenyans. But the Geoffrey Nicholas, who says, where's the sense in charging Kenyans the same as other East African counterparts? This is not fair. I don't know. I feel like that's part of East African cooperation, to be quite honest. We've committed through various, what did I call them? Like treaties, agreements, etc., to become as cooperative as possible with one another. So I think tourism is one of those sectors, and it should be reciprocal. And even if it's a difference, not a large difference. So we've always had local rates for a Kenyan, and then East African, that's not too far,
and then now international.
I think that's fair to me.
Okay.
But let's get back
to the math.
Yes.
Wait,
this system fee,
yes,
credit card fee. Is there still a 50 bob convenience fee, as Yusuf was saying? Because 50 bob, near e-citizen. So, but what you're saying is not e-citizen, according to
the system that is being run currently does not show e-citizen because, and our contention is very simple. The payments that were being done before, the e-citizen system used to provide receipts, and that has been the norm. There is no any other organization, and you can check as the media, where e-citizen is being applied and there's a convenience fee behind it for 5%. None.
No, we know it's the 50 bob per transaction.
We were in that system, e-citizen, and the fee was $1.
Okay.
Just $1. And the industry understood it because you get a receipt for that $1, and it was very convenient. Number two, the e-citizen system allowed payment platform that allows members to go to the bank. So that your bulk transactions, you don't have to carry money around, convert it, put in cards and anything. No. All you need to do is that you bank with Absa Bank or KCB Bank or who. All those platforms allows you to put money from your bank account to KWS account. That's it. And you share that confirmation of payment with them, you get your tickets for your clients. The tourism sector is a business. The government work is to ensure that the businesses can trade conveniently without hidden costs or hidden charges. Now, if you want to make a change and certain drastic changes, the industry is here to discuss it with you. So that as we market the country, those costs are clearly defined. Now, when you wake up and put a cost that is not defined, what we are doing currently, and that's why you are seeing so many people talking on the platforms, you are taking from them their little income because they cannot go back to their clients to collect that money. So the little income they were supposed to make is what they're giving you. Now, tourism is one of the biggest employers in the country currently. Both the young people that are actually running their own outfits, the established companies that are actually employed a lot of people. Now, when you take their margins away from them, the net effect is that they'll be looking from somewhere to actually make good. Making good just firing staff. If I can't make the money, then I cannot keep more staff in my company.
Fred, let me ask you. There's indeed a parallel system that is going on.
Yes.
Which it sounds like there is.
Yes.
What kind of action, beyond coming here today, I think there was also a press briefing you had yesterday or the day before yesterday. What further action now are you looking at taking? Also, have you confronted KWS directly? Are they still being cagey? Are they not coming forward? Are they ignoring calls, or what are they saying to justify, say, the parallel system?
And we'd like to hear from KWS, honestly, because, if it is indeed a parallel system, that is incredibly strange. But then how do we also know that it's a parallel system? It could be e-citizen in a different form.
Which is exactly, to your point, Mariam. So I was asking Fred, is it indeed parallel as far as you're concerned? I think he's saying like it is.
Yes.
But to your point, is it just a diversification of e-citizen?
Let me actually also log on to KWS's pages to see what they're saying. But go on.
This is our thinking. If you look at the system as it is today, and how the industry works, every time there's a change or a concern, our first call point is KWS. We write to them, we call them, and we tell them, could you please explain to us what is going on? When the new system was plugged in, they didn't talk to us. We saw it from our members complaining the next morning, the system has been changed. And we basically checked what the members were saying. We wrote to KWS a letter to the DG and told DG, we have been informed that you have a new system and the system does not have a bank aspect into it. Number two, your new system is charging an extra 8.5% on the credit card payments. We were promised by the same Director General himself and says, we are working on plugging in the bank immediately. We have a new system, yes. We overlooked the part of the bank. They are doing it as we speak. That was last week on Tuesday. And we went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Back and forth, we are putting in the bank system. Finally, we reached out to the CS, and the CS said, I'm talking to KWS, we are doing it today. That was on Friday. Nothing happened. Come Saturday, that was the first time a press release was given. I don't know if the media house has got it or it was just sent. A press release was sent out from KWS explaining the new system and the charges of 5% system fee, 3.5% card fee, and they said even if you pay through the bank, you still have to pay the 5% because this is a system management fee, whatever it is. That was on Saturday afternoon, within the weekend. That letter was signed by two people. It was signed with the DG, KWS, and I think the director, eCitizen. All right? And our question was very simple, and that's why now we went for a press briefing that we did on Monday.
Yeah.
Our press briefing on Monday was asking a very simple question. Why is KWS charging us an illegal fee of 5%? Because park fees as it is, it's a gazetted fee. It's like a tax. It's passed through Parliament and then you are told pay this amount of money.
Right.
Now, we are all Kenyans, we are all consumers. And I asked this question on the press conference and I also ask is here. How come the biggest collectors of money in our country don't charge us system fees? I'll give you one. KRA. All of you pay KRA system. They have got the most sophisticated system for collecting taxes. You only pay your tax. No system fee. And they've given us bank accounts all over. You bank with StanChart, you get it. You bank with ABSA, you get it. You bank with KCB, you basically transfer money from bank to KRA bank. Now, if those people run those kind of systems and there is no system fee and they keep on upgrading their systems,
Right.
all right, which means that when they procure the system, the cost of the system is the administrative cost.
It's embedded already.
Is embedded on what you're paying.
KWS put out a statement explaining.
Yes.
So, a press release from KWS
Correct.
and eCitizen. It's actually the joint logos.
Yes.
This was 3 days ago. So a transition from
It was sent on Saturday.
It was sent on Saturday.
Yes.
A transition from the old eCitizen platform to the new KWS Pay eCitizen payment system. Now, they say that following concerns raised by tourism stakeholders and the public following the transition to a new upgraded payment system, the transition from the old eCitizen platform to the upgraded new eCitizen payment system, branded KWS Pay, introduces a more seamless, enhanced, and flexible process for booking and making payments for conservation fees and other KWS services. The system now includes multiple payment options, including M-Pesa, bank cards, bank transfers, and e-wallet options, all of which will be available from today, that was the 1st of November, at 6 p.m., with detailed user instructions provided on the website, KWS website, and eCitizen portal. They included bank transfers there.
Which they had not put
Okay.
until yesterday. They still don't have them.
Until yesterday. So as of yesterday, you could do bank transfers.
They tried, it didn't work. Our members on the bank and on ABSA, KCB is not working.
That's
What they've enabled to work is their card system because they're collecting money from it. They don't want the banks to work. They're not working.
Okay.
But according to the statement, banks
I would like them to challenge me.
Bank transfers are included according to the statement. All transactions will apply a monthly dollar exchange rate in line with the CBK's rates, in addition to facilitation charges to cushion the service provider against inflation, currency fluctuations, and interbank changes. The dollar exchange rate will be reviewed and communicated monthly on the KWS website and KWS Pay portal. This is, I'm assuming, for those paying in dollars.
There is no need to clarify for us dollar, and I'll explain to you why. We are charged by KWS in dollars, and we pay them in dollars. There is no need for an exchange rate.
Okay.
We've never had a need for an exchange rate. You bill us in dollars, we pay you in dollars, because we collect that money on behalf of the government in dollars. Yes.
A nominal administrative fee per transaction will apply as outlined in the Gazette notice dated 22nd December 2023. So a nominal administrative fee per transaction. Not sure what that fee exactly is. Also, an additional 5% gateway fee will be charged per transaction in line with the CBK's approval to support system maintenance and operation costs. All payments through bank cards attract additional charges depending on the service provider that range up to 3.5%. Now, here I'm hearing KWS say this was approved by the CBK. This 5% gateway fee will be charged per transaction in line with the CBK's approval to support system maintenance and costs. Also, they are calling it KWS Pay, but it is on eCitizen. This is from their statement.
This is a bone of contention. That statement, as far as we are concerned, is a hogwash. The industry as a whole, that statement does not make any sense. 3 reasons. One, there is nowhere that we had a discussion that went to the CBK to discuss system maintenance. The instruction from the president himself said, move everybody to eCitizen. Nothing has changed from that eCitizen. And these rates that were there were actually already accepted. Change over such a massive system whereby you're collecting 370 million in a year must be procured in a certain way. The industry must be informed about that looming change. It's not something that you just wake up and do and tell us about CBK and those people. That's not the issue.
So you say that's the first reason that it's hogwash is because you were not consulted.
We're not consulted.
Okay, then you said there was 3 reasons. The second?
Issue number 2. KWS has a board, all right, for them to engage in a procurement that affects the entire industry and the public as well, okay? They must send a notice to the public. They must send that notice to the public. And there is nowhere in the management of KWS whereby they are allowed to collect these fees that are not gazetted. We do not understand that bit. Anything they are collected, I would like the media to ask them to give us that approval.
CBK approval.
Yes, share it with us.
Third reason?
Now, our third reason is that the management of KWS must be done within the law. Our understanding, first of all, there's a court order stopping them from doing what they're doing, and they're operating outside the law.
The law. Okay. Let me ask you, Fred, even based on what Mariam is saying, if they say they have CBK approval, say everything was ticked. Let's say we were able to get a hold of said CBK approval, and basically there was sense in what they're saying in their press statement that they've explained why this fee, etc. If it was something that you were informed about, would it still be okay? Is your biggest bone of contention that the fees are exponentially high, that it's a different platform, or that you were not informed?
The industry is not against somebody modernizing what they do.
Okay.
Like I said in the beginning, we're not against you increasing your park fees. We are against this haphazard, clandestine, macabre way of doing business. That's our problem. That we need certainty in what we do as an industry. KWS needs to be very certain on what they're doing. The fees that they charge must be fees that are actually gazetted and can be shared in the international world. We tell people, this is the fee that you pay, to enter our reserves, our parks,
Yeah.
and allow the trade partner, which is the tour operators and the travel agents and the airlines, to be able to be certain on the brochure they're sending abroad to market the country. So that they don't change, they don't keep on changing things last minute. You understand?
I think that part
for sure.
We're very much aligned.
When they do that, then we have the confidence as traders, and also there's a confidence in the international market.
Okay.
That's all we're asking them to do.
Right.
We're not interested in how they manage themselves, how they plug the money in and where they want to plug it in. That's not our issue.
Don't do it in a haphazard way.
Don't do it in a haphazard way.
What are operators telling you? First of all, there's a lot of them in the comment. Muhammad Hersi, who's been in this industry for a very long time.
Yes.
I've just seen his message. Never felt this slow and desperate running a tourism business in Kenya. How on earth do you insist on charging us 8.5% as gateway charges, which cannot even be accounted for? We have Kalbo Adventures in the chat. We have Olegish Adventures in the chat. We have quite a number of players who are in this field. What are they telling you about what they're having to face on ground? First of all, given to your point, this contract signed, what is happening with what they're dealing with some of their clients?
Currently, there are only two things happening. Either you're using your own money to pay KWS, which means a total loss to your business, or you're losing the business. The client is saying, I'm sorry, I can't add you money, and if you don't have money to add, that booking is cancelled. Or you want to run the business for PR purposes because you don't want to be sued again by your international agent.
So you
are basically going back to your pocket, and that 8.5% is your money on top of the increased park fee that was introduced haphazardly without actually giving people the period notice to actually collect the difference from the client. So even if you went back to the client and told him, sorry, the park fee has been increased, this is a gazette notice, I can't cover it, please send me the money. They send you the difference. Before they arrive, you're telling them again, sorry, my government has again changed it from what you gave me. I need another extra 8.5% to pay. Do they believe you now?
No. Credibility-wise, it's very problematic.
They make you look like somebody in the back street,
like a con man,
stealing from them.
Yeah.
You figured out, oh, they paid me the extra park fees. They cannot pay me the extra management fee.
Yeah.
That is not business.
I agree. Bakari Sagna is saying something, and I want us to find a fix before we close the conversation. He says Kenya's average daily cost for a tourist is about $300.
Yes.
That's the average spend, right? It's higher than Morocco and South Africa, which average about $200. I'm actually surprised. I thought Morocco was more expensive, but okay.
Morocco is very cheap.
I'm surprised, right?
Yeah.
Morocco and South Africa attracted 17 million and 8 million visitors in 2024 respectively. Hapa Kenya tulipokea wageni milioni 2.4, 2.4 million.
Okay.
Tuko na shida. So he's speaking to already the operating environment is not at peak or at what it should be, because I'm surprised that Kenya is more expensive than Morocco on per day spend for a tourist. So let's even broaden outside this KWS park fees. As tour operators, as the Tourism Federation, how do we market Magical Kenya? How do we make it more affordable? How do we, and I'm saying this on the back of also, for example, the increase in Masai Mara park fees. And I've said this time and time again, if the problem is numbers, we can cap numbers instead of making it more expensive.
Yeah.
But what's your thought on that? And how do we make tourism more affordable? Local and international, by the way.
The local tourism, we focus more on adventure. Adventure is more pocket friendly because the facilities that you're using do not need you to pay entry fees.
Right.
What makes Kenya expensive for the local person is basically our cost of living, because the fuel is expensive, the restaurants are slightly expensive, but for the international traveler, it's a different
Ball game.
of soup. Why? First, we're a long-haul destination. So if you're looking for international travelers, Europe is 2 flights away from us, most of them. North America the same,
Right.
South America the same. If you look all at that, the comparison with Morocco is not correct. Morocco has got a lot of easy flights into that country,
Europe,
which
although
Kenya,
this was a more daily spend, like
which is not the same as Kenya. So the daily spend in our country, that normally what makes it expensive, is because the international traveler want to sample our parks. if you want to sample our parks, the first thing that comes in mind is park fee.
Right.
All right? If you are going into KWS parks, you are spending either $80 or $90, depending on where you are, with the new rates.
By the way, there are premium parks. I forgot to mention. Not all parks are the same.
No.
I found out actually yesterday.
No.
So there's premium parks which cost more.
Our product is actually segmented to take care of everyone.
Right.
All right? Remember, the international traveler, we have got that high-end traveler who does not want the masses, the crowds, and so we have got reserves that are meant for that. All right? And that client knows what they're looking for. So they have no problem with anyone about the park fees and anything else.
Right.
They're looking for exclusivity, they're looking for service, they're looking for peace of mind, the places that they go to. Now, we have the normal parks that goes to the normal traveler, which has got normally, during peak season, they are crowded, the numbers are high, there's high octane running of vehicles in those places. The park itself is not the only thing that people come for to do in Kenya, all right? But it makes a larger part because that is the identity of the Kenya product.
Right.
Now, they spend in our country because we don't do buses. You know, most countries do the big bus when it comes to travel.
Right.
We do a safari vehicle, which has a limitation. It is 7 people per vehicle. So the cost shared by that number of people still is high.
Expensive, yeah.
Countries like Morocco do a 60-seater bus, which probably you are paying $5 to take up as an excursion, makes it very different. So every country has got the DNA of what they do and what makes them what they are.
Yeah.
Kenya is a good product. We still have the authentic safari in our country. We have very nice beaches. We have very nice excursion. The city of Nairobi is a lively city. Kisumu is growing up very well. It's able to actually accommodate a lot of tourists. And
Homa Bay.
they are being developed. Homa Bay is being developed. Now, all those, Kakamega is very good with the Kakamega forest and all that. Lamu is a serene place to be in because it's quiet, very less numbers. Diani has done very well with both weddings. The whole of Uganda weds in Diani. It's a very nice destination.
Yeah. Okay.
What we need as a country is not to discount our product, is ensure that we can compete favorably in the market, in the international market. And the only way to do that is to ensure that we have certainty on what we provide to the national market. Same thing we do to the local market. If you're going to have the local market sample the country, we always tell the country, provide security in all corners of the country.
Agreed.
Because the young traveler or the middle-aged traveler wants to feel safe, feel friendly, and experience and explore the places they go into.
I just have a little bit of pushback.
Yes.
I will say throughout this conversation,
Yes.
and this is not to discount international tourism,
Yes.
dollars are nice,
Yes.
but it's very much centered on international tourists.
Rather than
and
domestic.
I think, rather than domestic, I think as a tour industry as a whole, tourism industry, there needs to be some conscious thinking about domestic tourists and how to make the most of it. While not sidelining that, I think they can happen in tandem. We can have international tourism grow with local, but with more intention. Because from a policy perspective, from everything, we always just seem to cater almost to international tourism when it comes to big bucks. And then the rest of us who want to also see Amboseli, it's like an afterthought.
And yet the strength is in our numbers,
Yeah.
that we're so many. Fred, I know you wanted to reply, but we're completely out of time. But we will be following up, and hopefully you can update us on how these conversations are going. We'll also try and get something from KWS. But very worrying all the same. We've had Fred Odek, Chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation. We're talking about the KWS park fees, and a lot of you in the comment section who are in the industry are also crying foul over how this is hurting the tourism industry. We'll continue to follow this conversation. In the next hour, we're talking about the Kenya Met Department, just an outlook on what's been happening with regards to the landslides in Elgeyo Marakwet. What did they anticipate? Did they send any warning signals? Were they not heard? We'll have that conversation in just a moment with Richard Mwita, who is the Acting Deputy Director, Research and Education at the Kenya Met Department. It's coming up to 9 a.m.